Distinguished guests, good evening, and welcome to Ottawa City Hall. Mesdames, Messieurs, chers invités de marque, bonsoir et bienvenue à l'Hôtel de Ville d'Ottawa. And my name is Hugues Baudouin-Dumouchel, and I will be your Master of Ceremony for tonight's Key to the City Award presentation, the city's highest and most prestigious award. Je m'appelle Hugues Baudouin-Dumouchel, je serai votre maître de cérémonie ce soir pour la présentation de la clé de la ville, la plus haute distinction remise par la Ville d'Ottawa. À ce moment-ci, ceux et celles qui le peuvent sont priés de se lever pour l'arrivée de son honneur Jim Watson, maire de la Ville d'Ottawa, et de notre invité d'honneur, M. James Duthie. I invite those who can to please stand for the arrival of His Worship Jim Watson, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, and our guest of honor, Mr. James Duthie. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Je vous invite à vous asseoir. First, as we begin this evening's ceremony, it is important to acknowledge that Ottawa is located on the unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation. I would like to honor the land and the peoples of the Anishinaabe Algonquin Nation, whose ancestors have lived on this territory for millennia, and whose culture and presence have nurtured and continue to nurture this land. Il est important de souligner que la ville d'Ottawa est située sur un territoire non cédé de la nation Anishinaabe algonquine. J'aimerais honorer les terres et les peuples de la nation Anishinaabe algonquine, dont les ancêtres ont vécu sur ce territoire durant des millénaires et dont la culture et la présence ont enrichi et continuent d'enrichir ces terres. It is now my honor to introduce Elder Claudette Commanda, who will soon be delivering this evening's territorial welcome. J'ai l'honneur de vous présenter dans quelques instants l'aînée Claudette Commanda, qui effectuera l'accueil territorial de ce soir. Elder Commanda, an Anishinaabe Algonquin from Kitigan-Zibi Anishinaabe First Nation, is an alumnus of the University of Ottawa's Faculty of Common Law and Arts. Elder Commanda has dedicated the last 30 years of her career to promoting First Nations people, history, culture, and rights in various capacities, as a student, as a professor, and as chair of the Aboriginal Education Council at the University of Ottawa. In just a few weeks, Claudette Commanda will assume her new role as Chancellor of the University of Ottawa. She will become the first Indigenous leader to be named Chancellor in the school's 174-year history, and only the third woman to hold the position. Congratulations, and Elder Commanda, the floor is yours.
Greetings to everyone. Kwe kakina. Bonjour à tous. Mayor Watson, Your Worship, and to the honored guest, Mr. James Duthie, to the family, to the friends and colleagues, and to all the citizens of Ottawa. Kanimich kijgun kinun edishnakaz, kitagan zibi donjabon, pijajikoma anishnabeeki. I'm always honored and I'm always proud to bring greetings and welcome everyone to this beautiful homeland of the Algonquin people, the homeland that was entrusted onto us since time immemorial, and the homeland that we must ensure will be here forevermore. It is always a blessing to be in the company of beautiful people, a blessing to be in the company of those that we celebrate and that we give thanks for all the hard work and the commitment that they have done for the community. I'm surrounded this evening by many important individuals from the media, and let me tell you, it is an honor. It is said when we come together in that responsibility that we have as Anishinaabe people, we must welcome our hearts and welcome our visitors into our homeland. It is also said that when we come together in that circle, to always bring forth a greeting, to bring forth a blessing. And because this evening we are gathered to honor a special person, and I have to say, Mr. James, tonight you are receiving the key to the city of Ottawa. But let me say that for years you were the key to millions of your fans. You brought joy, excitement, suspense, and sometimes tears, because depending whose team won and whose team lost. So through your talent as a sportscaster and as an author, you just brought so much joy and positivity. And we need positivity. Stay positive, kindness, and you brought that love to community. So I congratulate you on this award that you are being gifted with this evening, the key to the city of Ottawa. Your kindness for community, your passion for your career as a sportscaster and as a writer, continue to bring that joy to millions of people. And I know the whole community, we come together in that circle as brothers and sisters, as family and friends, and we honor our relative here. Chimigwej kibijaya goma nongum. Nibuk sendam mashkawiziwin. Nibuk sendam minapomadzwin. Nibuk sendam zagediwin. Chimigwej kishiminado onje kakina. The blessing that I give to each and every one who are here is that the Creator continues to bless you with that good life and that good health, strength, and most of all together with that one voice and one heart and one spirit, we raise one another up to acknowledge one another, and let us be that beacon of love and kindness for our families, our friends, and the community. And we are indeed a community, and the city of Ottawa is a beautiful city with beautiful people. Chimigwej. Thank you. Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, Elder Commander, for that inspirational welcome. I now have the pleasure to invite His Worship Jim Watson, Mayor of the City of Ottawa, to come forward to deliver remarks and make the official presentation of the key to the city to James Duthie, followed by the signing of the official guest registry of the City of Ottawa. J'ai maintenant le plaisir d'inviter son honneur, Jim Watson, maire de la ville d'Ottawa, à prendre la parole, puis à remettre officiellement la clé de la ville. Your Worship.
Well, thank you very much, Hugh. Merci beaucoup, Hugh, et bienvenue tout le monde. Welcome to your City Hall. I want to thank everyone for joining us this evening as we recognize the tremendous accomplishments and contributions of James Duthie. I'm pleased to welcome our guests of honor and the many family members and friends and associates joining us on this very special occasion. I want to thank Elder Claudette Commanda. Thank you, Elder, very much for being with us today. And you've been with us many times. This will be my last Key to the City ceremony, but I wanted to sincerely thank you for your spiritual guidance and leadership, and congratulate you on becoming the Chancellor at the University of Ottawa. I'm also very pleased, a number of members of Council are here with us today. Councillor Jean Cloutier, Councillor Cathy Curry, Councillor Matt Fleury, who's also our Sports Commissioner, our Chief of Paramedics representing Senior Management, Pierre Poirier, Rod Smith, TSN Sportscaster, members of James's family. Key to the City recipient Daniel Alfredson is with us, Brian Kilray and Judy Kilray, many sports and broadcasting personalities. We welcome you all here tonight. It's my pleasure to present the City of Ottawa's highest honor to James Duthie in recognition of his tremendous accomplishments as a journalist, author, charity ambassador, and award-winning sports broadcaster. The Key to the City has been bestowed upon distinguished persons and honored guests of the City of Ottawa since it was first presented to Lady Minto in 1902. Previous Key to the City recipients include author Margaret Atwood, photographer Joseph Karsh, actress Sandra Oh, Daniel Alfredson, and recent recipients include Brooke Henderson, the Ottawa Citizen, Henry Burris, and Dr. Vera Etches of Ottawa Public Health. Now, James grew up in Gloucester and is proud of his roots and began his career at CJOH Television. James a grandi à Gloucester et vit maintenant à Aurora, en Ontario, avec son épouse Cheryl et ses 3 enfants. As you know, James is one of Canada's best-known sportscasters and the popular host of TSN's extensive and award-winning hockey coverage. Il est une des commentaires sportifs le plus connus au Canada. His entertaining and sharp-witted style continues to make him a fan favorite across Canada and one of the most followed media personalities on Twitter. James also covers the Grey Cup, the Super Bowl, and the Masters, and he has hosted coverage of several Olympic Games, including the unforgettable 2010 Olympics in Vancouver and Whistler. In November, we'll be tuning in when he hosts Canada's second ever appearance at the FIFA World Cup of Soccer. His natural charisma and extensive history in sports broadcasting allow him to gain the exclusive interviews with some of the biggest stars in sports and entertainment. His work has earned him multiple awards, including 8 Canadian Screen Awards for Canada's Best Sportscaster and the Excellence in Sports Broadcasting Award from Sports Media Canada. He is also devoted to supporting those in need and is recognized for his contributions as a charity ambassador representing Children Believe, formerly Christian Children's Fund of Canada, an organization that is dedicated to helping the children around the world overcome poverty and achieve their full potential. James is the author of 4 best-selling books, including his most recent Beauties, Hockey's Greatest Untold Stories, which was #1 on the bestseller list in Canada in 2020. Although he now lives in Aurora with his family, James has never forgotten his hometown of Ottawa. A fellow Carleton University alumnus, James dreamt of being a sportscaster on the local news, and he far surpassed that. He is a remarkable journalist who has brought many Canadians joy and excitement, as Claudette pointed out, through his dedication to sports coverage and at the national and international levels. He has certainly made our city proud, and it's my honor to invite James to come forward for the presentation of the Key to the City. Congratulations, James, on this well-deserved recognition. Félicitations.
Congratulations, Mr. Duthie. I would now like to invite our first speaker to come forward to deliver remarks. Mr. Rod Smith is a play-by-play commentator for CFL on TSN Games, as well as an anchor for SportsCenter. He's an Ottawa native and is not only a colleague of Mr. Duthie's, he's one of his closest friends. Je vous invite maintenant à accueillir Rod Smith au podium.
Thank you. And welcome to all. I got here early and I wandered the hallways to see who else had received the key to the city. It is such an impressive list, a who's who, with an impact on Ottawa. And I see James' name there and I can't help but be so impressed. Impressed, but not surprised. I'll flash back to late spring 1998 when at the time I'd been hosting TSN's CFL studio coverage and I got a chance to do play-by-play, so vacated that post. And I just heard the name of who they were bringing in to replace me, some kid named Duthie from Ottawa. And I thought, well, I'm from Ottawa too. In fact, Nepean, J.S. Woodsworth Secondary School, used to beat Gloucester football, as I recall. I was a big fan of the Ottawa Rough Riders, and so was he. Season ticket holders. I was more in the 70s. He had to endure a lot more because he was in the 80s as a fan of the old Ottawa Rough Riders. But we did have a lot of things in common. I had a desire at the time to get into sports broadcasting and work at CJOH, and he ended up fulfilling that dream. But here we are at TSN all these years later and working together, and I did get to know him very quickly. But despite the shared background, there were differences too. He had a way of separating himself from the pack, not just from me, from just about anybody else I've ever worked with. He has a gift, and he also works very hard on that gift as well. A different perspective, a kindness, a passion and curiosity for those the subjects that he's dealing with, compassion as well, regardless of who you are. And the thing that really made me find him so compelling was it's not just his sense of humanity and his sense of humility, but his sense of humor as well, and how it all blended together. I mean, think about this. What television sports commentator can do all of these things, starting with doing an NHL preview show with a monkey on his shoulder who's spinning a wheel to pick who's going to win the series? Or coming up with an idea to create a fictional farm in this area where coaches are developed. Basically, coaches are like cattle on a farm raised by someone named Delmer, I think, right? Came up with that idea because the story was, of course, that the Ottawa area produced so many good, great NHL coaches. So there was that side of him and so many other ideas. But also what he was paid to do as just a smooth host on all the big properties, not just the NHL, but football too, Super Bowl, and of course Grey Cup, golf. You heard Mayor Watson say going to World Cup, doing soccer as well, NBA, does it all, and does it all so well because he's prepared and he's very respectful and he gives those events the grandeur that they deserve. And that's the other aspect of it. And the third one is, you can talk about the comedian who can be so silly at times, at other times can go on camera and interview people about events that go so much further than sports, are far more important. I think of one example, the memorial service, the tragedy in Humboldt, Saskatchewan, and how he handled that so well with dignity. And also his friend, Jonathan Petra, the butterfly child, and the series of stories he did, how touching, how inspirational those stories were as well. Sincerity and handled all of those things, could run the gamut in a way that I had never seen from anyone else before, and I don't know if I will again. And all along too, loves Ottawa. Among the many memories, and we worked together for a while, over a year, hosting shows together, but among the many memories I have with him, because over the years we would talk about our hometown. But I remember the Grey Cup in 2016 when we provided absolutely thorough, unbiased coverage. When the Ottawa Red Blacks took on the heavily favored Calgary Stampeders and Ottawa pulled off the upset. There was just this shared understanding, just a look at the end when that was over. 40 years of frustration for Ottawa football fans. And finally they had that victory. And as unbiased as we were, we both had an understanding, just to look to each other and what the city had been through in terms of football, and couldn't help but enjoy it as well. He is the master of his craft, the best I've ever seen and worked with. And I am proud to call him a friend and a colleague. And even though we didn't know each other growing up in Ottawa, I am proud to say that he's from my hometown. Thank you.
And thank you very much, Mr. Smith. What a lovely tribute. I now have the pleasure of inviting our next speaker to come forward to say a few words. She is someone who knows our guest of honor very well, the oldest of 3 siblings. Please welcome Mr. Duthie's eldest sister, Ms. Meredith Duthie, to the podium.
Story of my life, being introduced as James's sister. I didn't know we were supposed to say nice things about James. There are 3 children in the Duthie family. I'm the oldest. My sister Christy is the middle child, and James is the baby of the family. Christy is a physiotherapist. She helps sick people get well. My career was with the Canadian Security Intelligence Service, protecting the security of our country. James talks about hockey on TV and gets paid more than both of us put together. James has always loved sports. I think he gets that passion from our parents. My dad was the biggest Rough Riders, Renegades, Red Blacks fan in history. My mom is the kind of Sens fan who yells encouragement at the players even when she's watching games at home alone on TV. So James comes by his love of sports honestly, and I think that's just why he gravitated towards, and I think was thrilled to become a sports journalist. James also inherited from my dad his storytelling ability. My dad was great at telling stories. And one of his favorite stories involved a time when he was buying something at Canadian Tire in Perth. So a little bit of context here. My dad and James have the same name. So my dad always went by Jim, but his legal name is also James Duthie. And he was in his late 70s at the time, shopping at Canadian Tire in Perth, at the cash, paying for his purchase, hands his credit card to the cashier. She looks at the card, sees the name, looks at him, says, "Are you the James Duthie on TSN?" And my dad, having fun with this, says, yes, I am. And she looks more closely, she says, "You look a lot younger on TV." Amazing what makeup can do. James is a very effective storyteller. You can see that through his books, through the columns that he used to write either in print or online, but also his broadcast stories. And Rod kind of stole my thunder by talking about James's coverage of Jonathan Peach. I think everyone in Ottawa knows who Jonathan was, partly because of the efforts of James and of TSN. So a young man that suffered from a horrible disease, but more importantly, at least from James's perspective, who loved hockey. And I think that's what brought them together, and I think that's someone who's had a major influence on James's life. It's not easy being the sister of a celebrity. Actually, when I was rehearsing this at home, and I was doing celebrity, but I decided that I would leave that out since this is a pro-James crowd. So it's that kind of when you give your name anywhere, and that's Duthie. Are you any relation to James? Or that you're out somewhere and you hear a familiar voice and you're thinking, "Oh, my brother's here," and then you realize it's just the TV. Or what's my third example? When you're talking to your own mother and you have had a hard work week and you're looking for some sympathy and you're explaining how busy you were, and the response you get is, "We know your brother had a hard week too. He had 2 games and one of them went into overtime." My sister Christy and I really feel that it's our job to keep James humble. So we like to remind him that it doesn't matter how many followers he has on Twitter, he's still that same guy that used to sleep with a big furry monkey named Clem. But even though it is our aim to keep James from being too big-headed, on an occasion like this, it really is a time where I think, speaking for me, for Christy, for our mom, and for our whole family, James, we're really proud of you and all your accomplishments.
Thank you, Ms. Duthie. Now I would like to invite you to focus your attention to the video screen for a special presentation for our guest of honor today. Je vous invite maintenant à regarder la présentation d'une vidéo toute spéciale à l'intention de notre invité d'honneur.
I've been sitting at this desk all day, and I've yet to report a blockbuster trade. Running out of stuff to say, so I'm going to give it a friggin' budget. Rod and I have worked together in the past, and I'm thrilled to be working with him again. Also, to be a part of Sports Desk moved to 10 o'clock Eastern. That transition from the end of the game to Sports Desk will be seamless. This is really the opportunity of a lifetime.
I don't know what it feels like. I want to experience that rush. Do you think you can handle it?
I can handle it, but remember the sheets, too.
Yeah, all right.
All right, here. So here we are, after 3 blowouts in Boston, 3 nail-biters here, we are left with this. 2 franchises absolutely starving for a Stanley Cup. 39 years for the Bruins, forever for the Canucks. 1 game for glory. Paul Henderson meet Sidney Crosby. You will see this goal, Canadians, thousands of times in your lives. As Canada wins the gold medal here in Vancouver.
Great reaction.
Unbelievable.
Second gold medal in 4 years for Canada, and let's take you inside the dressing room as they celebrated. You know, Hey Baby, I think that's what we'll remember this tournament for. We heard it 39 times, but the anthem at the end, that's always this country's favorite song.
Welcome to the NBA Finals from Toronto. It's real now, Media Day, as we heard from all key players on both sides. One team trying to cement a dynasty, the other trying to complete an unforgettable run that has captivated an entire country. As we say hello to Canada and welcome to Grey Cup Sunday, how great is it to say those words? James Duthie with you from Tim Hortons Field and with you for the next 5.5 hours. Thank you, 5 Super Bowl titles for Brady and Belichick, but they've never won one like this. 31 unanswered in a quarter and a half of football to win one of the most remarkable Super Bowls ever. I suppose in retrospect we should have seen it coming. Simple math, really. Greatest coach ever, plus greatest quarterback ever, equals greatest comeback ever. 2005, Vermont was had that great call. In your life, have you seen anything like that? The Tiger chipped in on 16. 14 years later, I think Vern's words work again in a bigger picture. These thanks to your recipients, but we're much more excited tonight about being presenters, so we can have that award and present it to Jonathan Pitcher.
You're a class act, buddy. You're the gold standard as far as being a broadcaster and just being a great human being. Everybody at TSN is lucky to call you a friend and to kind of have you pave the way for setting the standard on the way you treat people and the way you conduct yourself at work. So you're a really great guy, and I'm really honored to call you a friend. Congrats to you and your family on the big day.
Just want to congratulate you on a tremendous honor. The key to the city is really something. For your brilliance and your care of the city, it's really amazing. Now I hope the key's huge so you don't lose it. Because that's just
A huge trade with big signings to lock down the future of the Ottawa Senators, and now this. I mean, even though James hosts maybe 2, as many as 3 Ottawa Senators games on TSN per season, I know the team is very proud. All kidding aside, a terrific broadcaster as James is, what defines his greatness is how he treats people, and you know that here in Ottawa. Congratulations, buddy.
how much respect and admiration you have for the city of Ottawa and what this will mean to you. As a guy that sits to the left of you on panel all these years, I would have one piece of advice. You get 2 sets of keys because the way you operate, you're going to lose that first set.
Stanley Cup champion. Coffee. It's Duthie. JD, how's the Pals night in LA? Yeah. About that. We messed up.
Don't take my gold away. I don't care about a key or play. Hey, rap.
67, maybe even an Ottawa Senator, maybe an Ottawa Red Black, but the way you play sports, this is a different than most practical.
Obviously, the fact that it's a hockey town, but most of all, it's a farm. What do you mean farm?
You don't know the farm. The farm, the coaching farm in Ottawa.
That's right. Right here, tucked away in the lush farmland of the Ottawa Valley, lies a coach farm, the only one of its kind in North America.
You know, it's funny, I never even realized James Duthie was from Ottawa. It's not like he's ever mentioned it on air or anything like that.
Coming out here, talk about pride. Really proud. Wear the pride. Put the mic back on, you still gotta wear the pride. Ravens. Forever.
Maggie the monkey from TSN along from you is James Duthie.
Duthie and Maggie have built up quite a relationship through the years, but it hasn't always been smooth sailing for the couple.
I think you know why you're here. Your performance has been disappointing. All right, Maggie, I'll give you one more round, but if you don't produce, you're fired.
No, you hang out first.
Duthie,
Sort of towards together. Yeah.
give you interns here.
Send him in.
Hello.
I want to come right on the ropes. It's my dream to be on the panel. Yeah. Actually, we should have you and Corey Schneider on the panel.
And they can bring you both.
Get the key to the city of Ottawa. It's absolutely incredible for an outstanding human being and just the best in the business, and certainly someone that I look up to. But I do have one question. Does this mean you get free golf for life?
I don't know how somebody goes about earning the key to the city, but you found your way. And I want you to wear it in campus around the shop. Yes, and on the panel, just open your shirt and you well deserved, right? I don't care what the rock says about the hair, you don't die. Stick with it. Love you and congratulations.
James, on behalf of the Ottawa Senators organization, I'd like to congratulate you on this nice recognition. We know how proud you are of your Ottawa roots, and we're glad to have you as a great ambassador for the city of Ottawa. Congratulations and enjoy the ceremony.
James, on behalf of the players of the Ottawa Senators, I'd like to congratulate you on receiving the key to the city. I know how proud you are of your Ottawa roots. The city of Ottawa must be very proud of you, to honor your respect.
Congratulations, my friend, on receiving the key to the city of Ottawa. Couldn't think of a more deserving guy than you to receive it for all the great things that you do for the community, and all the great things that you do for us that work with you at TSN. So all the best, congrats, and maybe you can use that key to do something good in your life, like opening up a golf course and taking me out for a round of golf. Who knows? Anyways, congrats.
As Jeff O'Neill said, the gold standard, absolutely. A big thank you to everyone involved in putting the montage together. Et c'est maintenant avec grand plaisir que j'invite Mr. James Duthie à prendre la parole. It is with great pleasure that I now invite Mr. James Duthie to come forward and deliver remarks. Mr. Duthie.
Oh, man. Thank you so much, and to everyone at the city for putting this on, to Mayor Watts, and a special thanks to Julia, who has been coordinating this for a couple of years, a million emails back and forth with myself and my wife Cheryl. She's amazing at her job, and thank you so much for all of this. Thanks to Rod, who is one of my best pals in the world, and the year we spent together on Sports Desk is still one of my favorite years ever. He would laugh at my jokes, even if they were horrible, which they often were. He was the best Ed McMahon ever. And to my wonderful sister, I gave the toast to the bride at her wedding, so she owed me one, so thank you. It's weird, this is weird, for a kid from Blackburn Hamlet, who, as most of you in the audience know, had really no discernible skills besides perhaps a little bit of ability to talk about sports on TV, so this is This is really strange. It's nothing I ever imagined to get an honor like this. It's also, it's awkward when you spend your career talking about other people to have everybody talking about you. As nice as all these comments were, and thanks to TSN, whoever did the video. I think Mike Lane's in the audience. He probably had something to do with it. But what I'd like to do with my few minutes, because I think you're all sick of hearing about me, is talk about you. I can't see you all, and I know the people at home can't see, but one of the coolest things about this night, with all great respect to this honor and the key, is to have a chance to get all these people from different facets and parts and times of my life together in one room. You don't, maybe weddings and funerals, I guess, which I hope there's not one of those soon, are the only times you get something like that. So it's amazing to me to have so many friends and colleagues who I love dearly here in this room tonight. My first job at CJOH was a news reporter that I did for several years, and I was not in this building, but at the old, I covered city council meetings a lot, and I hope the mayor doesn't take this the wrong way, but I hated it with a passion, and I was horrible at it. But there was a young counselor who I interviewed several times who was very kind to a green reporter who didn't know what he was talking about most of the time, and I remember thinking, this guy's two things: he's very smart, and he's a very kind human being, and I don't think you could ask more of a city councilor or a mayor than that, and that was Jim Watson. So you mentioned this is your last key to the city, and I know you're stepping down in a couple of months, so I just wanted to thank you not only for this honor, but for your years of service, decades of service to the city and to the country. So congratulations, and maybe. So I grew up idolizing, TSN wasn't around, and I grew up idolizing Bill Patterson and Brian Smith, who were the two local sportscasters here in Ottawa. And so when I finally got to CJOH, which was a surreal week, I was in my last year at Carleton and got to do an internship for a week and hang out with my idols. The second day I got to job shadow Billy, and he took me down to Ottawa 67's practice to meet Brian Kilray. Killer was already a legend. My dad used to take me to 67's games. These were the days before the Senators. And I remember Billy introduced me, and Killer said, "You stick with Billy, you'll be fine." And you were bang on, Killer. And I obviously got to know Killer later in the career, and one of the true honors of my career was co-writing his book with him. So thank you, Brian, for being here tonight. It took me a while. I wanted to desperately do sports and get out of city council meetings, but the first gig I got was actually producing for our newest sports anchor, who just won 2 Olympic gold medals. And I didn't know what to expect. She was like a national hero. I expected, one of these athletes with big egos, and she came in, and it was weird because she had no ego at all. Just this incredibly kind human being, and it was an honor to work with Carolyn Waldo for all those years. I know Carolyn's here tonight. I can't see you all. I see all the faces that came in. Tony Zito, I hope, is here, one of my favorite editors of all time, and a good friend, and my softball guru. And I think I saw Joel and Leanne when I walked in, who are, again, 2 of my favorite people at CJOH. So thank you all for coming. CJOH was a family to me, and still some of my favorite years of my life. So it was really, really an awesome time. The first feature I ever did, I think, when I became a full-time sports reporter, was on this Ottawa Senators rookie. It was 3 weeks into the season, and this kid was a 6th-round pick who nobody really knew anything about, and was tearing the league apart. And we went down and interviewed him. He was living in a hotel downtown, and we needed footage, and so we went to a grocery store, and he kept loading boxes of Pop-Tarts into his cart, which I realized afterwards he's a funny guy. He was just being funny. And we used that footage probably 20 times over the years at TS, and he probably hates me for it. But 2 months from now, I'll stand on a stage like this, a bigger stage in Toronto, and introduce him as he goes into the Hockey Hall of Fame, which will be a thrill for me. So for Daniel Alfredson to be here tonight, just one of the classiest guys I've ever covered in my career. So thank you, Daniel. Rod was talking about that Red Blacks win. One of the great things about my time at TSN is I've been able to stay connected to Ottawa, hosting those 3 or 4 Sens games a year, as Dregs likes to say. And the 07 Stanley Cup final, one of my greatest thrills ever, when Alfie and the boys went to the final and they won Game 3. And we went downtown, and I'll never remember a night the city was so alive as that night. And when the Red Blacks, Rod's so right, that was such a special night for him and I. And my dad had suffered for so long with that team, and my mom, and my dad would pass away the next year. And so, I think back and I was just so happy that he got that moment to see that team win one more time. I don't know if Jeff's here tonight, Jeff Hunt. I think he's coming by for a beer later if he isn't here, but I've said this to him before, but I've thanked him countless times for giving my dad that moment and helping football come back to Ottawa. I know Jeff lost his mom recently too, so I want to offer my condolences there to Jeff. So, those are all amazing things, doing games like that, Super Bowls and Grey Cups, but the best part of the job I'm in is that it allows you to meet people that you wouldn't normally meet, and there's nobody more special that I've met than Jonathan Pitra. Both Rod and Meredy know how much he meant to me. Tina's here tonight, his amazing mom. He did changed my life. He was just an amazing kid, so thank you so much, Tina, for coming. It is so much about the people, the job, and all those guys on the video. Like we work. The thing that makes TSN great is that there really are great people there, and some of the best friends I have in the world. I know a bunch of them are here tonight. The legend Darren Drager, one of the greatest insiders ever, is in the crowd. He gives me a hard time all the time, but I'm so glad he's here tonight. The O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, who you saw in the video. O-Dog. When Julia and the mayor sent out the invitations you all received, these very, very formal invitations, O-Dog replied to the mayor, "Is this a joke?" that I was getting the key to the city. And then he went around telling everybody I was being knighted. So, Bobby, I know you'll be disappointed. Certainly some of my nephews and nieces and my good friends here that we're hoping to meet Bobby Margarita tonight, who was on his way from Kitchener but had some complications and couldn't make it tonight. So Bobby passes on his regrets for not being here. And I mentioned Mike. Thanks for coming up too. He's our new boss of hockey, so I have to treat him well. Thank you for being here tonight. If I've missed anybody else who made it from TSN that I missed in the crowd, thank you very much. I've talked about my CJOH family, my TSN family. I have a third. I'll get to my fourth. But Meredy talked about me being the little brother of two sisters, and I loved both my sisters very much. Chrissy couldn't make it here tonight, but I always wanted a brother. I really did, especially when I was a little kid. And I was sad when I was a kid, but I ended up with like a dozen of them. How lucky is a guy when, like, his best friends at grade 3, I think we picked up a couple in grade 5, grade 6, grade 7, a couple more stragglers in high school, end up still being your best friends like a half a lifetime later. So a bunch of the guys are here tonight. I'll forget somebody if I mention, but you're all my brothers. Thank you so much to all of you for being here tonight. Scoot is here. I think Bob, Ricky, Jimmy, Wardo came all the way from Newfoundland. Scotty Miller, I think, is on his way later on. Who am I missing up there? Vaz, Laz, I think, are here tonight. So, like I said, you guys are my brothers. I love you dearly. And finally, sorry, I'm going on way too long. I'm on the panel. I only get like 20 seconds to talk, so I'm sorry. This is my one opportunity. And finally, my family, my actual family. I'm so lucky to have nephews and nieces here tonight who are all incredible and awesome. I don't get to see them enough, so thank you guys for being here. My father-in-law, Norm, is here tonight all the way from Wilton, my other dad, so thank you, Norm. I mentioned Chris to you, couldn't make it tonight, and Michael. My mom's here tonight, who is my inspiration forever, and probably the reason I'm standing here, not just because she gave birth to me, but she was a teacher who taught me the importance of, I guess, speaking well English, French. She corrected all my essays, so I got a lot of cheat marks in high school. She still edits my books. So, Mom, I love you dearly. And I wish my dad was here tonight. He would have loved this. He really would have got a kick out of this tonight. And the loves of my life, have three amazing kids, Jared, Darian, and Gracie. Gracie's got a mandatory lab tonight at Queen's, so she's not here, but I often say, and Cheryl does too, my wife, that for whatever accomplishments I'm being honored for here tonight, which I'm still a little confused by, our greatest accomplishment by far is we raised three amazing kids. I love you guys a ton. And I got, some of you were at my wedding. I got a little drunk between the ceremony and the speech, and I kind of forgot to mention Cheryl in the speech. So I promised if I ever got up here again tonight that I'd mention her. So probably the greatest gift Ottawa ever gave me was on a wintry night outside Maxwell's on the Market. It was really cold, and some girl asked me to borrow my gloves, so it turned out pretty well. I love you, babe. I probably, oh God, I forgot him here. Joanne and Rick are awesome friends. Chris and Mel. I think Donnie Douglas I saw, who's my financial advisor. Donnie, I'm opening the bar at the after party. Please forgive me for that. I know I've just spent this entire time probably thanking every single person in the room. I'm sorry if I forgot anybody, but you guys mean the world to me. And as I said, the greatest part of tonight is getting to raise a glass with all of you a little bit later on. I love the city so much. I will defend Ottawa and champion this city as long as I'm alive. I've been away for a long time, but it'll always be home. So this means the world to me. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duthie, and congratulations once again. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our presentations this evening. Thank you for joining us, and on behalf of His Worship Jim Watson, you are all invited to a reception in Jean Pigot Place immediately following the departure of the official party, and you are invited to sign the official guest registry at that time. We would like to thank the members of the Cameron Highlanders of Ottawa, Duke of Edinburgh's own, and Ottawa Fire, Paramedic, and Police Services who provided members for the Honor Guard and Color Party this evening. For those whose family and friends could not be present today, the presentation will remain online at rogerstv.com for you to view at any time. Pour ceux et celles dont la famille et les amis ne pouvaient pas être présents aujourd'hui, la présentation demeurera en ligne sur le site tvrogers.com pour que vous puissiez la visionner en tout temps. Thank you to each and every one of you for helping make this evening absolutely memorable. Je vous remercie chacune d'entre vous d'avoir contribué à faire de ce soir une expérience inoubliable. And now we come at the part of the evening which is just like a hockey game. We're going to stand up for the national anthem, but also the recession of the official party. Je vous invite maintenant à vous lever si vous le pouvez pour l'hymne national et la récession du parti officiel. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, messieurs, have a good evening. Bonne soirée.
Just wanted to say, I forgot this was on Rogers TV tonight. There is one Rogers employee in the building, Mr. David Amber, who's one of my best friends in the world. And he desperately wanted to give a speech tonight, but he has way too much dirt on me.
Thank you.